Right then, so unfortunately, I'm back in England. After an absolutely incredible experience in Riyadh, being at the fights, um, yeah, it was absolutely incredible to be completely honest. Being live in the flesh in Riyadh, watching the fight card of the century, it was an absolutely unbelievable experience. 100% my favorite ever boxing event, and probably will be my favorite ever boxing event for the rest of my life. To be fair. And yeah, let's be real, it's my favorite ever holiday as well, going to Riyadh and, watching the boxing card of the century. It was absolutely unbelievable. But we've got to talk about Joseph Parker and his win over Martin Bakole. I think, if I'm being honest here, I've seen loads of people saying about, um, you know, just complaining about Martin Bakole not having a full training camp and stuff, and they're not giving Joseph Parker the credit. And I think Joseph Parker deserves credit. And, you know, Parker took a risk, and, it went Parker's way. Parker ended up taking a risk, and Parker ended up beating Martin Bakole in round two with ease in the end, to be completely honest. I mean, yeah, as I said, people are going on saying, "Oh, Bakole wasn't fully fit or anything like that." And no, like, he wasn't. But whose fault is that? And also, as well, I feel like people need to give Joseph Parker more credit. Martin Bakole was like 310, 315 pounds coming into this fight, and Joseph Parker came into it and knocked him out in the second round when, Bakole was like 50 pounds heavier than him. So, you need to give credit to Joseph Parker's power for that. And, I feel like people now need to say, with, Parker gaining this weight, it's been clear to see for a fact that, he's been bulking up to, not just only be, a smart boxer, but to be a power puncher as well. And this is what Parker's shown, and that is what he showed with his win over Martin Bakole. Joseph Parker really showed his power in that fight, knocking out someone who's 350 pounds in the second round. Yeah, people need to give Parker his credit. He did what he had to do against Martin Bakole. And yes, Martin Bakole wasn't fully fit, but I've heard things with, like, Billy Nelson apparently said that Martin Bakole has barely sparred since the Anderson fight. And literally had no camp at all. But before the fight, we were hearing things about, oh, Bakole's been training. But no, apparently he didn't have a camp at all. And apparently he literally hasn't really sparred since the Anderson fight. And that is not what you should get from an elite, from someone who's meant to be an elite fighter. If an elite fighter, heavyweight as well, isn't sparring since August to February, what are you doing? At the end of the day, I don't know. What's Bakole doing? Why is he just sitting out? Why is he not even training at all, though? That's his own fault. And, people are like, oh, it shouldn't have happened. Bakole accepted to fight, and, the show had to go on. And fair play to Bakole for taking it. But, why aren't you sparring? Why aren't you getting in? Why aren't you trying to get into the best shape possible anyway? Like, he was meant to be fighting a job or a mate. Why is he not already back into, full sparring, or at least training a bit? Like, he don't need to even be in, like, a proper, he didn't even need to be in a proper camp or anything, just be training at, like, a decent amount. But apparently Bakole wasn't even doing that coming into this fight against Joseph Parker. And Martin Bakole, in the end, got absolutely dismantled and punished for it by Joseph Parker. Parker made Bakole look stupid in there. But, look, Parker deserves more credit. 100% he does. But people aren't going to give that to him. But there are many things that Parker deserves the credit for. Parker will fight anyone. He took the risk. And, Parker was taking a risk fighting Bakole. It was Bakole's own fault that he came into the fight out of shape. That's not Joseph Parker's fault at all. Yeah, I feel like people are being harsh on Joseph Parker in that perspective. And also as well, don't forget, I remember when Bakole got announced, and I was watching the DAZN pundits and all that. And they were so far up Bakole's arse, saying, oh, Bakole's going to win the fight. I think he's going to upset everyone tomorrow. But no, that didn't happen. 2 days later, we are sat here talking about Joseph Parker's easy win over Martin Bakole. Yeah, that's how it is. Round two, Joseph Parker over an overhyped Bakole. I said Bakole was overhyped anyway. And either way, I think even if Bakole did have a full training camp, a similar thing would have happened anyway. It probably wouldn't have been early, but a similar thing would have happened anyway. And Joseph Parker would have won the fight with Bakole on a full camp, in my opinion, 100%. People are. I just think I'm just not giving Parker credit at all when he took a risk. And also as well, loads of people who I saw doubting Joseph Parker before the fight, saying that Bakole was going to beat him, and now they're all moaning about it. Oh, we only had 2 days, but you said he was going to win. So what are you doing? What are you talking about? I just don't get that. Like, people saying that Bakole was going to win, but now like making excuses for him. That don't make sense to me. Like, you should have knew from the off anyway. If you want to now make these excuses anyway, you should have knew from the off. It's embarrassing. Yeah, look, I think, for Martin Bakole, it kind of has ruined his career a bit. It has. Parker don't really owe Bakole anything, if I'm being real. Like, I don't really think he owes him anything after that fight. Parker gave Bakole a fight, Bakole gave Parker his fight. After a round 2 knockout, I don't think Parker owes Bakole anything after that. Like, I feel like Bakole needs to try and build his way back up. And it's Bakole's own fault for taking the fight. He's a prize, he was a prize fighter. He's not doing it for the legacy. And people are here saying, oh, he's going to be a world champ, Martin Bakole. Like, no, that's not going to happen. And Saturday night, no matter what you think about Bakole having a full camp or not, prove that Martin Bakole is not going to be a world champ. He doesn't have the mentality. Very clearly not. If he apparently isn't really sparring much anyway, when he's meant to have a fight in May. And since August, since his last win, what's Bakole been doing? What's he been doing? And that's on him. That's on Billy Nelson. Give Parker his credit. He did what he had to do against a big Martin Bakole in there, who was absolutely huge. And Bakole was still able to, leap over that top rope before the fight as well. It had me worried for a minute when Bakole jumped over that top rope. But no, Joseph Parker ended up dismantling Martin Bakole and doing what he had to do, and was good behind his lead hand, good behind his jab. I've also seen people on social media saying as well, making excuses for Bakole in this sense, saying, oh, Joseph Parker never looked comfortable in there against Martin Bakole in that fight. First of all, it was only 2 rounds in. No one's fully comfortable into a fight, 2 rounds into a fight. And also, Parker knocked him out in the second round. So what are these excuses I'm seeing from people on social media? It winds me up to see. It really does. Like, what are you... I just don't get what you're talking about. You were bigging up and up Bakole's ass before. You're there making massive excuses for him. Like, no. If you're an elite athlete, you're sparring more often. Joseph Parker's a game guy who's going to fight absolutely everyone and really fully put it on you no matter what. And also as well, I feel like even an elite heavyweight without a training camp isn't getting knocked out in the second round. Like, that's the thing. I don't think an elite fighter with a training camp is getting knocked out in the second round. I really don't. I mean, people are going to talk about the jet lag and all that, like 100%, like it makes sense. But for people saying that Bakole wins, that's my problem. People saying that Bakole will win before the fight, and now Parker's knocked him out in the second round. People are now crying about it, making excuses. Those same people that were saying, oh, Bakole was going to come in and win. Like, what are you talking about? Parker dismantled that man. Parker dismantled him. Give Parker his credit. He knocked out someone about 50 pounds heavier than him. And Bakole's a come-forward fighter anyway. And I said it before the fight even happened when Bakole got announced to step in. I said, Martin Bakole's style is, him just coming forward and landing lots of shots. And he would have had to go all out anyway early on. And still, when Bakole came forward, he dipped into a shot and Joseph Parker knocked him out by hitting him on the top of the head with a peach of a punch. So... yeah, there we go. Joseph Parker wins. Give Joseph Parker his credit. Anyway, thanks for watching.